Had a couple boxes come back. Help me process some stuff, get it off the floor, get it listed, get it for sale. Couple notes in here I think are gonna be probably be a fail. A few months ago I was just trying to get things off my desk and didn't know what to do with it, and we have a lot of requests for notes in a certain price range, and sometimes it's just best to roll the dice, see what you get. This was stuff that I'd been accumulating in piles, and I was just like, what do you do with it? I believe the submission started out as 200 notes, and it ended up getting split into 2 different subs, so I think there's going to be a lot of silver certificates. 2 stacks, looks like about 50 notes a stack. Alright, we'll start with the top. 57A and 68 NA block. Good looking note. There's going to be a lot of redundancy, I have a feeling. I was, like I said, I've been making piles of stuff, and there's a 57A and 67. 57B and 68, and then you get into the just stuff. 57B and 6, 57B and 4, it's an odd grade. As well centered as that note is, I graded like a 6, so they must have seen something. 57B and 6, 57B and 6. Like I said, lots of redundancy. Another 57B and 6, 57B and 7. 57B and 7, another 6, another 7, XA block. A lot of these are from the same group run. Here's one in 58Q, no clue. A little bit of handling on this edge, but it is what it is. Like I said, these are just cheap notes, didn't know what to do with them. I'd been saving them. 57B and 7, 5, 7. Somehow I made another 8. Oh yeah, that's just me blatantly missing it. There's a bend right in the middle. Probably didn't even look at the notes. I probably had them all stuffed in and just said, oh, these are 57Bs. Lots of 6s. Another 7. They're still good looking notes. A lot of block collectors like to do gem pluses, so they're not going to be fast sellers. We'll sell a handful here or there as the months go. WA block. A lot of these are different block too. Then we get into 35A. This note grade 63Q. I don't know how. As well centered as that note is, I grade that like a 6. the dirtiness down here, that's actually from the printing process. The smudgy. Yeah, I don't know how that's a 63. Okay. 35C and 6. Be easy note to sell. Basically series 35 plain through basically 35C is pretty tough to do, to track down all the blocks. Lots of 6s. There's a random 58. I normally, so when I'm sorting big deals, I have holders. If I see something unk that's pretty well centered, I just throw it in a holder. When the holder gets full, I send it into grading, and that's what this is from. 16, 13, and 7. So I go pretty quick when I'm sorting deals, so if I make a 58 or a 64, it's just me going too fast and not looking at the notes before I send them to grading. $66. Like I said, lots of redundancy. $64. Pretty well centered for the type. Yeah, I don't know. I don't grade that a 4 either. To me, that's like a 5. The surfaces aren't exact either. They make mistakes, so if you feel like something's not correct, I'm not going to waste the time over 64 to a 5. I'm going to sell the note and move on. But if it's a note that has some value and some actual upside and you disagree, you can surely send it back and get somebody's opinion. The surfaces are very open to, like this note here. Look how well centered the face of that note is. And the back. That note looks like a 6. But I'm just sell the notes and move on. 5s. If you definitely feel like something's amiss, you can definitely reach out and they'll talk to you. A lot of times if they see something that they're not happy with, or something they see that they're unfamiliar with, or just something or anything at all, they actually mark it down and they'll let you know. That's why, serial numbers on notes are, I wouldn't say that they're tracked, but they keep track of the serial number and they know kind of what the grades fall in line with. So you can't just like cut a note out, do a bunch of stuff to the note, send the note back, and hope for an upgrade. It's kind of a one and done situation. If you have a note in a holder and you feel like, if it's a 64 and it looks like a 6 and the note's like a 1899 Black Eagle and you feel like they just overlooked something, you can definitely send them back and talk to them. They're not the big bad wolf everybody makes them out to be. The services are actually really pleasant to deal with. I've never had a service not talk to me about it, either an issue or something I feel that is out of line. You'll always hear from somebody. So yeah, lots of silver certificates. Not a huge money maker for me, but definitely easy notes for early entry collectors. 35Bs. Don't see those very often. I probably see 10 35As to 1 35B. Then we get into some $5 issues. I know there's going to be mistakes in here. I bought this huge deal. I still have half of it, and I went through it quick and just wanted to get some into grading. It's all series. So I'll start out the 34 plain and 64 EPQ. Now you'll notice on some of these series they have a little bit of color variation. The backs will be a little bit, like this one I think is a little bit more light green, and as you go through they'll kind of, I think they darken, to me it seems like they darken up. There's a 34A mule DA block, 34 plain and 64 no Q. Got a little spot back here. Teller grease. 58 EPQ. Bummer. 64 Q. 63 JA block. A lot of these are going to be different blocks. There's a gem. Here's another no Q. Minor foreign substance. Yeah, there's like a little bit of a line from maybe a paper clip or so. 58 Q. Yikes. 55 Q. 64. Another 58. Some of these I'll actually look at again, like this one here. I can already tell it was just my mistake. You can see you can literally see the bend through the plastic. So the joys of going fast. $64. What's nice about $5 Silver Search is in choice grades are super easy to buy. It's probably easier to do a block set in 63, 64 than if you were trying to do Gem or Gem Plus. Some of these blocks, there's not enough of them in 65, 6, or even 7 to get competitive with. And the guys that are super into $5 Silver Search, they suck up those high grades and they make them, you know, worth the money. There's a few blocks where they are more common in Gem or Gem Plus than on some of the other blocks, but 63Q. To me, that note's like a 5. It's super well centered. 62Q. Ugh. It's the grade you can't sell. 63Q. Here's the 5. EA block. See, look how far left that one is. That one that was in a 63 was actually centered much better than this one. EA, another 58 on a mule. Bummer. Just me sorting, going too fast. I don't normally make this many 58s. But it's just to show that, you know, if you're going fast and you're not paying attention, you'll make mistakes. So prime example, collectors make when they send in their own material and don't have a professional look at it. I've seen some 100-note submissions that are all VF to AU, and the collectors thought they had bought CU notes. $63. Here's a 6. Wowzers. Made one. $5 Silver Search, anything above a 66 is super tough. That's why if you look at price points on eBay, you'll see some of the 6s are anywhere between $100 and $250, and that's more based on the block or the rarity for that type in gem. So like 34 planes in 6 are a lot more money than 34 A's in 6, but a 34A mule in 6 would be a lot more money than a 34A plane non-mule. So like here, this is FA block at 6. This note's going to be a little bit more common. So this note's, retails like $130, $150, $130 to $150 kind of depending on block. If this was a mule, you would see it'd be $150 to $200 depending on the block. But then you have a note like this where it's just a 63Q, it's like a, $55, $60 note, easily obtainable. We actually don't make a ton of money on them. By the time you pay the cost of just getting the notes and then grading, you only make $5 to $10 a note max. This is more of a service for collectors. Another 58. A lot of FA. So here's like IA block, non-mule, and 6. That's a pretty decent note. But then here's 1 and 3. So like I said, these notes actually, when they are printed, a lot of people are under the impression that notes, if you have a nice pack, you're going to make 555, 6666, 77, you're going to make these killer grades. The way that the sheets were printed and stacked on top of each other is actually impossible to make a pack in all 6s or all 7s. If you had an original strap pack, you're most likely going to make 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, maybe a 7, and then basically start over again. It's very tough to have a super straight, nice pack where you're going to make great grades through the whole pack. Modern notes come a lot nicer, so you'll see a lot of modern packs that grade like 65, 6, 7, a couple 8s, and maybe a 9. Like this note graded 50 EPQ. Yeah, this should have never even made it into the stack. It's got like a fold this way. It's got some handling. 64Q. Honestly, it's not that bad for me just sorting stuff out, throwing it in a sleeve when I buy over the counter or from other deals that I break down and just sending them in and not doing any work. I'm actually quite impressed there's that many uncirculated examples, but a lot of 34s and 34As. 63, 64. A lot of different blocks here. IA, JA, KA, FA, no K. KA would be pretty good. The best silver certificate's a 34A mule HA block. I've never found one. Someday I will. So here's a 63Q. And then finish it up with a 66. So the good outweighs the bad with these kinds of submissions, especially, so my time is probably more valuable than, let's say, 10 or 15 bad grades. Am I going to lose money? Probably not going to lose money. Is there a learning experience here? The learning experience is to put your time and your energy into the things that really matter. The semantics of it, or the math dictates that if I had a submission like this and I had 10% failures, but it took me an extra 2 hours to sort the notes and get the notes ready, that's 2 hours I could have put into like getting Black Eagles done, getting gold certificates ready, getting obsoletes ready, things that actually have an uptick of value, looking at tipped corners and just looking for handling marks, things like that, notes that really have upside. So, and what I mean by upside is a note like this. So let's say like a $5 silver certificate and 58 EPQ sells for $49.99. let's just say that. And then you have the same note in a 63 that sells for $59.99. That's only a $10 difference. When you have something like $18.99 Black Eagle, and let's say it grades, it's VF25, and it has a corner, the corner's folded over in the holder. But let's say if you unfold that corner and put it back in the Mylar and send it in at grade of VF30, well, the difference would be like $40. So that's kind of what I'm getting at is sometimes we make mistakes as dealers, but it doesn't mean that we ultimately failed. It just means that we've invested our time into other products that have a little bit more of an upside. Like for instance, you hear me say national banknotes are they're just nationals. They've circulated, they stood the test of time. They are what they are. They can't be enhanced. They are rugged, they're rough, they travel, they were on trains, they were on horses, they were in wagons, they traded between banks, they sat in stacks in bank vaults, they had rubber bands around them, they were paper clipped to documents, they were stapled to documents. A national banknote was a true workhorse of the banking industry. As for some of these other notes, they're just notes. So that's kind of why I have a different outlook on different types. Truly rare type notes those are what they are as well. There's not enough of them to go around and say, everybody gets an $1891 $50 silver certificate. There's only, there's less than 200 known, and there's more than 200 collectors for that type. And that's partially why the price is so much different. But it's also a note where VF25, VF30, and VF35 is all the same money. When you get into small size silver certificates, small size legal tenders, small size Federal Reserve notes, it's a little bit different. You're going to be shopping, there's a lot of true rarity in small size, but the rarity lies in the block, in the grade, and the series. So you have to do a little bit of homework. Everybody asks me, what do I use for small size paper money, or how do I determine? This book right here, Small Size U.S. Paper Money to Date. It's written by John Schwartz and Scott Lindquist. John Schwartz is a great guy, excellent human. I have nothing but great things to say about him. As far as Scott Lindquist, don't really know him. Just it is what it is. And then there's another book I use for modern paper money, and it's this book. This is the Collecting Modern Federal Reserve Banknotes. There's the misconception is small size isn't rare. There's a lot of common small size, but there's a lot of hidden varieties and gems in small size as far as plates, mules, error notes, things of that nature, things that are a little bit unique. Different printing presses, different printing, different page setups. Like someone asked me the other day, they had a 18 subject sheet on a 35D, and they go, what does this mean? How do they know it came from that? And I go, well, by the plate number. So the best thing to do if you want to collect small size is do some research, figure out what's common. A lot of people just assemble type examples, but it can go a little bit further than that. Challenge yourself. Put a block set together. Do a 34 plain, do a 34A, do a 34A mule, do a 35B, or a 34B, do a 34B mule, for $5 silver certs. It's tough. It's very fun. But as far as like $1 silver certs, rarities that a lot of people don't know about. So with that, you're going to see a lot of these notes probably end up on eBay. Some of these are going to probably just go by the way of the dodo. That's me, never see them again. We have a lot of wholesalers come in that want to buy different things. They use them in gun shows, flea markets, county auctions. I don't have time for that stuff. I don't go to any of these little itty bitty small town shows. I also have a customer list, people looking for specific things, especially in $5 silver certs. I have a handful of guys that absolutely need an 34B Mule Star, So with that, we're gonna have some more submissions coming back. Central State's getting ready to gear up in about 6 weeks, I think, maybe 5 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're gonna be going to Kansas City. Harrah's Casino is going to be having it's going to become a regional coin and currency show. So if you live in the Kansas City area, or West Kansas City, Missouri, or West Kansas City, Kansas, or St. Joe, Missouri, or Omaha, Nebraska, or Springfield, Missouri, or St. Louis, Missouri, or wherever within a 3 to 5 hour radius, it's probably going to be a great show to go to. Sounds like 140 plus tables. Dealers from all over the country are attending. I know a lot of people from Iowa that are going to be going. As far as Nebraska dealers, I think I'm the only Nebraska dealer that's going to be set up at that show. Lots of people coming in from, like I said, Iowa, Illinois, eastern Missouri, western Missouri, probably some people from Oklahoma and Arkansas as well, and there's a handful of dealers from Kansas that will also be attending. But Central States will be in Chicago the last weekend in April. It's going to be a 2-story show this time. After Central States, I'll be in Denver, Colorado. There's going to be a show there as well, so you can come see me in Denver. I will be set up. I'll have some paper money. Probably not a lot. If there's something you really need or are looking for, you can always email me. And then after Denver, I'll be on hiatus for like hopefully 8 weeks, just working at the shop, doing home stuff, maybe going on vacation with the kids. I have a bunch more $5 silver certs to sort out. We have a bunch more better type notes at grading. What we have for better type at grading would be, there's some better nationals there, $5 educationals. I know I have some $5 eds there, $2 eds. I have some really killer 1914 $5 Federal Reserve Star notes at PMG. Trying to think what else I have. Lots of bulk. There's a lot of bulk there. Bulk is kind of our bread and butter. We supply a lot of people with different products for their customer bases as well. So, and we sell anywhere from 8 to 15 notes a day, just random, between fancy serial numbers, Federal Reserve notes, obsoletes, national bank notes, colonials. Across all types of notes, we sell probably 8 to 15 notes a day consistently across our selling platforms, and that doesn't include phone calls, emails, and that sort of thing. So we tend to go through the notes. We had a customer in here yesterday, he bought 400 certified notes, so they tend to come and go pretty quickly. I was going to show you something neat. This came in the mail. This actually, this is the only denomination known for the type for this bank. This is a raw note, but this is a 1882 date back, which is a little bit better type for the state of Nebraska, but it's from the Farmers National Bank of Pilger. So this is it was a recent discovery, turned up at a local coin show. This is the only 20 known. Oddly enough, about 1882's series on the datebacks, none of them had signatures. Not even a skosh or remnants of a signature. No bleed through of a signature. Across to all the 5s, 10s, and now 20s, I've looked at them all, and none of them have any sign of a signature. There's another bank in Nebraska that's very similar. They issued a bunch of 1902 plainbacks. None of those have signatures, and they range in all grades from VG to AU, and none of them have signatures. Does that mean that they were issued without signatures? Could have been. They could have. Though my thinking is they might have been in pencil, or they could have been in a really light stamped ink and it faded off. You see that time to time on nationals where signatures will eventually disappear. Imagine if you had a note like this and they just barely touched it with the ink stamp. Or another theory is, a friend of mine thinks that they watered the ink down. Bankers are cheap, so they would add water to the ink, and that's why you see variations of the color purple on stamped national banknotes, is because they would add water. Here's kind of a, you see how one's deep and dark and the other one's very just almost soft or runny looking. So that's another theory. As far as notes missing signatures, the BEP did wash national bank notes as well as Federal Reserve notes and other large size type. Could these notes have been have the signatures been washed off and then recirculated? It's a possibility, but on a note like this 1882 date back, I really feel like this note was issued without a signature. And just because the other notes known on the bank are very similar, so that's kind of what leads me to believe that they were like a hurry up, get that note out sort of thing. So what am I going to be posting on eBay in the next couple days? I bought a big deal in 1934 and 1950 $10 Feds, already graded PMG, 34C. Well, it starts out 34A, 34B. There's a lot of 34Cs, a lot of 34Ds, and then mixed 50 series, so 1950 wide, 50B, and 50C, I believe. Mostly all going to be Cleveland and Philadelphia districts. I think there was a handful of Boston and maybe a couple New Yorks, but nothing like, no Dallas or San Francisco. Notes, these notes came off the East Coast, so notes that are regional usually have that district that are involved. So just an example, if I went to Minnesota, I would most likely be buying Minneapolis notes. If I went to Missouri, I'm either going to get Kansas City or St. Louis. Here in Nebraska, we get a lot of Chicago and Kansas City notes. We do not see very much Minneapolis notes, but I have dealer friends in Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota, and they see a lot of Minneapolis districts. So notes don't tend to travel that far, especially on the earlier series, like 1934. You could imagine if you were in San Francisco and you received $5 bills and you traveled to Pennsylvania, that would take you quite some time, either by train, buggy, horse, car, however you're getting there. That those $5 bills would have to take you all the way. So with that being said, you don't normally see original pack of San Francisco notes show up in Philadelphia, is what I'm getting at. Coins travel the same way. You don't normally see a roll of Denver Mint 1931 Lincoln cents show up in Pittsburgh. It's just the way coins would travel. It's very similar to why Morgan dollars are very regional as well. You don't see a lot of Carson City coins show up in West Virginia. It's how it is. So anyways, I could talk all day about stuff. I like stuff. But watch our eBay store, Kearney CC. If you have any questions, you can email me at info@kearneycoincenter.com. Like I said, if you're willing to spend $250 or more, I would entertain a direct sale. Other than that, we mostly deal on eBay and our website and a couple other outlets. If you know me personally, I am on Facebook. You can shoot me a message there. I just ask that you keep my time. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you want to message me, my time is very limited. So please be respectful of my time. I had some customers the other day that they wanted to show me their collection, and then when I said, hey, I have a few notes, they told me, do you have anything available? And I said, yeah, I have a few notes that would fit in your collection for their fancy serial numbers. And I showed him the notes, and he told me, he said, well, I only buy raw notes. So I said, well, I cut them out of the holder, and then he never answered me again. So like I said, my time is valuable. We're not, by no means are we pulling any wool over anybody's eyes and making a pile of money. We're very fair on our pricing. If you look at our sales history on eBay, we sell lots of notes at reasonable prices, and we do have some stuff that's a little bit crazy money, but go get one. We have a Black Eagle and Black Eagle Star Note and 65 EPQ. I think there's only 4 known between all services, so it's not a note that's just going to pop out of the woodwork. So that being said, hope all is well. Hope you guys have great weather this week. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and I'm going to close with that.